Hello everyone and welcome back to Thinking Cap. In this one, it's my Game Week 5 recap guide where I'll break down key stats from this weekend's games to help you improve your FPL decision making, your eye test, and your gut sense. Thinking Cap activated. So we've got the Fantasy Football Scout members area up right in front of us. It's got a ton of great features and stats, so check them out via the link in the video description. But we're going to take a look at some cumulative stats. So that's all the numbers game week 1 through to 5. And we're also going to take a look at some stats from this weekend's games, notable players, differential players, team data, all that jazz. And what this is going to help us do is that when you come back and click on this video, you're going to know and see visually what trends players and teams are following, and you'll know if a guy's a fraud. Is he just getting those chances in 1 or 2 game weeks, or has he been doing it for 5 or 6 game weeks? And that's really going to help your eye test, your gut sense, decision making. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get straight into it now. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with the XG overachievers and underachievers this week. So overperforming your XG means that you only were predicted to hit 0.59 like Luis Diaz, and he scored 2 goals, whereas that means you're overperforming, right? You're hitting over what your expected is. Archer, for instance, on the other side of the coin, 1.26 xg, 0 goals. And I'm not surprised, because if Russellman wants to drop my boy Armstrong out of nowhere, that's what they deserve. I hope Archer keeps missing chances, because honestly that pissed me off. Let's have a look at Sammy Smolix here, 0.7 xg. So he's receiving big chances for Ipswich. Dominic Solanke, 1.61 xg. So that tells you all you need to know, that when Solanke's in the team, he's gonna get really good chances. He's gonna put up the numbers. Salah, interestingly, top 4 for xg underperformers, 0.61. And does that mean you should sell Salah? Maybe. But what that tells you is he's still getting in really, really great chances. Like if we come and look at Diaz here, he only put up 0.59. So Salah actually put up more, but he didn't score the goals. And, it's disappointing. And at 12.5 million, you expect more, but he's still top 3 players in terms of FPL points so far in the game weeks 1 to 5. Let's take a look at the top 5's game week 5. Now we've got shots. Haaland is topping shots right now, 5 shots on target. Diaz, 4 shots on target. Then we've got Raul Jimenez, who was 3rd on 3. Salah also 3 on target. And Mbeumo, 3 on target. So why are shots on target important? Every shot that a player takes is plus 2 BPS in the system. So if you have a guy like Haaland, for instance, people were complaining, why did he get all of the bonus? He's taking a lot of shots. Like 5 shots in the game times 2 is 10 BPS, right? It just makes sense that he will be up there in the BPS every game. So it's interesting, like you've got Mbeumo, he's obviously having a much higher volume of Brentford's predicted goal share, but he's also delivering the shots on target, which is nice to see. Son topping, 7 chances created, very interesting. Salah as well, he's just showing that he can offer that assist threat. Mo Salah with 6 chances created. Kovacic, Iwobi, Bernardo Silva, a couple of interesting things there. Let's have a look at the cumulative stats now. So let's see who is up there overall right now. Underachievers, Archer, 2.29. So if you're looking at Archer, I'm not sure I would be recommending right now. He doesn't look in the best form. 0 goals from 2.29 xg. And the thing is, Russell Martin, I'm not sure he can be patient right now with the player. Like, they need points ASAP, and they've got a couple good fixtures left, so they really need points. We've got Evan Nilsson. Obviously, most of that was dominated by the penalty miss that he had against Chelsea. Bruno Fernandes, now this really does break my heart, 1.86 xg with 0 goals. So if you're looking at Bruno Fernandes on a potential wildcard 6, I would probably advise against that. Personally, I know Bruno and he's not in the best form right now. Xerxes, 2.19 xg, 1 goal scored. What does that tell you about the United striker spot? Because I'll tell you, in the past, the United striker spot doesn't actually get a lot of chances. We like to call it the graveyard shift, right? Because they're just running around, not really doing much. But this XG is very strong. It's stronger than I've seen in a lot of our past seasons so far from whoever's playing in that 9. And I think Xerxes is quite an all-rounded striker, a little bit more than Rasmus. So if he does continue to get the starts, he could be a really, really, really good option. Haaland is absolutely dominating shots on target, and that could be because, Foden's been out of the team. All of City's goal share is going to him, and it's not like Foden looked impressive today. So that probably will just continue. 26 shots total. Wow. Salah also second, and then Luis Diaz, Jackson, and Chris Wood, interestingly, who is on Forest penalties now. He did take the penalty over Gibbs White today. Chances created, McNeil up there with 20. This is game week 1 through to 5, guys, by the way. 20 chances created for McNeil. Pereira 19, De Bruyne 16, Tavernier 14, and Trent Alexander-Arnold with 13 chances created. And I think that is all from the cumulative stats. Actually, wait, before we move on, let's have a look here at the BPS total. So this is all the BPS, not like who gets the +2, who gets the +3. This is in the actual system per game, who has the most BPS, adding all the games up, all the BPS final scores up. Haaland is absolutely on a flyer, 294. It just tells you that the new system is really, really in favor for Haaland returns and for Haaland to go pretty big, because if he scores, it's very unlikely now that he won't be in the BPS at all. Like, I think it's either a 2-pointer or a 5-pointer, or it'll be 8 or 9 for Haaland nowadays, because he's just so dominant. If he takes 4 shots in a game, that's +8 in the BPS system, right? And if he scores a goal in that game, that's +24. Then a couple other BPS for little things. It's going to be very hard to beat Haaland on the BPS this season. So if you don't own him, I would definitely be considering getting him. The first game we're going to be taking a look at is Manchester City 2, Arsenal 2. Want 2.14 XG for Manchester City, 0.65 for Arsenal. First, let's take a look at the average positions, because that's always very important to note. Who is playing really high up, who's a little bit deeper than what we were expecting, and I think it's going to be pretty important. So this is Arsenal's team. Wow, Bukayo Saka. Look, guys, look how high Bukayo Saka is. So they had him as the main threat on the break. Obviously, Arteta had set that out from the start. Haaland is just the deepest player out of Man City in average position. Gundogan, who's playing similar to what De Bruyne would have been doing in game weeks 1 through to 4. He's a little bit deeper, and if you did check out last game week's video, you would have seen that De Bruyne was actually here and Haaland was here. So actually, Haaland's got reverted back to the deeper role. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. We'll have to see in the coming game weeks. Let's take a look at the expected stats. So in terms of team open play XG, Arsenal 0.16, City 1.43. Now, what does this mean? Well, City actually had more XG from set plays than Arsenal in this game, which is very interesting. And all of that XG, I believe, was dominated by Mr. Gabriel, because Arsenal had 0.49 and Gabriel Magalhaes had 0.49. So the only real XG chance that Arsenal put up was from that Gabriel goal. If we take a look here at the total shots for Manchester City, I'm sure we will see which defenders did get those chances. I know Gavardio had one in the game. Let's first have a look at Mr. John Stones, who scored the goal. Just one chance from a 0.34, so it's quite a sizable chance. Walker, any chance? He had a couple pop shots outside the box, but that's basically it. What about Mr. Josko? And he had 2 shots, 0.03, 0.04 XG. So the majority of the set piece XG did come from John Stones' chance, but there was some small ones in there from City. Let's move into the distribution, I believe, to find the chances created. So, who is top? Now, I think Bukayo Saka put up 2 big chances created in the first half, 45 minutes. Obviously, he got the sub after Trossard's yellow. And in terms of chances created, Bernardo Silva created 5, tied most with Kovacic, Akanji with 4. So the City defenders do look like they have value, but the problem is if you think the Rodri injury is long-term, and I'm sure we'll get time frame on that soon enough, if you think it's long-term, I really don't back a lot of clean sheets for City, and I back the games to be more open, more goals, which could be better for their attackers. So if you are in Wildcard 6, I would be preferring an attack City double up rather than going for a Gavardio, because I think the Liverpool defense and the Arsenal defense are offering plenty of value at the moment. Next up is Chelsea West Ham. Finished 3-0 Chelsea with thrashing. It's 2.19 XG to 0.85 for West Ham. Now, there were late shouts for a penalty from the West Ham players, the West Ham fans. Not enough ooh factor for me. Okay, so we look at Chelsea's team. Nicholas Jackson up there for average positions. Noni Madueke and Cole Palmer quite high, but the thing is, I will highlight that this game had a lot of transition situations in it for Chelsea. They were always going to thrive from that. It was just whether West Ham's defense would actually improve or not from what it has been, because I think they're still waiting for Todibo to come back from fitness. In fact, did he actually play? No, it was Mavropanos and Kilman again, which I don't think is a very good center back partnership. So I wouldn't be looking at a West Ham defense or anything like that because they are pretty stinky. We did mention it last game week that Cole Palmer was playing very, very deep, 0 penalty box touches, and his average position pretty deep, 0 shots as well. So it's definitely important to check out how Cole Palmer did in this game. Let's move to Cole, and okay, it's a little bit better, a little bit of red here, but look at this. This is a bit deep. You're paying 10.5. You saw Saka's, even against City, most of his was up here, right? And you've got a little bit of heat map here, but honestly not that much. So I'm a bit concerned that they're playing deeper than what I would like for Cole, but obviously it is Cole. He can still return. Quickly, let's take a look at Jaden. Can he be a good option? Again, decent heat map. I'm not sure. I can't remember how many minutes he actually got. Did Palmer have any shots at all for Mr. Cole Palmer? Okay, 2 shots in dangerous positions, I will say, right in front of goal, and he buried 1, which is better than previously what we've seen from Palmer this season. It's a little bit more encouraging, but it's honestly not that much. So Chelsea, everything they created was from open play. Very impressive. 0.5, 0.85 XGC for Chelsea, which is, it's okay. A little bit of set play XG from West Ham, not really much there. Chelsea kind of dominated this game though, and it wasn't like a big domination. It was just kind of cruise sailing, and it is a derby. It's a London derby. I was expecting West Ham to be a lot more involved in that game, but obviously they're not in the best place right now. I think I would be hesitating on going for a Bowen or Kudus at the moment until you see their form turning. Non-pen XGI in this game, Nicholas Jackson top with 0.82, obviously had 3 involvements. In Nkunku 0.63, and that's really great. If you add these two together, that's what the striker spot for Chelsea is offering against West Ham. That's really, really solid numbers wise. So Palmer 0.42. So it's a little bit better from Palmer. Obviously got the goal. And the thing is, will he get that chance every game? I'm not sure. I think it was a little bit of game state with Palmer, so I would hesitate there. Kudus 0.2 and Bowen 0.23. So a little bit from them, but obviously not too much. And Colwill looks like he did have some XA in this game, which is pretty solid. I think he's a solid pick. I mean, ask your Chelsea friends, ask a guy you know watches Chelsea week in, week out, and ask them, do you think Colwill's a starter? Because if he is at 4.5, and last season he returned a couple of GA, so I think he could be definitely an interesting option at his price point. We can see chances created, so 2 for Enzo Fernandez. Jackson with 2 big chances created. Very interesting indeed. Antonio, 41 minutes only. Saucy came on the bench. By the way, Chelsea fans, I do rate this Tosin Adebayo guy. I think he's actually quite solid. 2 chances created for Enzo, 2 chances for Jackson, 2 chances for Sancho, 1 big chance created for Sancho. Obviously Palmer, only 1 chance created, no big chances created, so it was a little bit of a less of a assist threat from Palmer. And we know that Chelsea, a lot of Chelsea's XG has come through him. He's actually been more creative than, in terms of, I think he's had more creative output than goal output this season. Not just because of his assist total, but if you look at his expected stats across the season, that's also what it says. Now, will this trend change? Will it differ? Will it move towards goal output? I'm not sure. That's something we'll have to monitor. But right now, if I had to put him on my wild card, I don't know. I mean, look, 64 minutes. You're paying for 64 minutes. I know he's not in the Conference League. He's probably gonna play midweek in the Cup, or maybe he's not up to full fitness. Who knows? But I still think it is a risk to go and just back Palmer when Salah is performing so consistently. 2.06 XG for Liverpool, who won 3-0, and 1.08 for Bournemouth, which at Anfield, 1.08 is pretty good. Now, I did watch this game in the 3 p.m. kickoffs. It was a decent performance from Liverpool. Okay. In the first half, much better than what they came out with in the second half. I think Bournemouth probably should have found the back of the net at least once. So taking a look at average position first, let's move into that. Okay, so we've got Mohamed Salah was the highest player up for Liverpool, with DIAZ a little bit deeper. And for Bournemouth, we've got Tavernier here. Semenyo was quite attacking as well, and Evan Nilsson a little deeper. Interesting. Let's quickly take a look at Semenyo's touch map. And I think Semenyo is going to be on a lot of wildcard 6 teams, and I'm sure he'll be an option for you if you're looking at him this week. Pretty wide, a little bit in the box. He obviously did score the offside goal, which was a good finish, but unlucky, just a bit unlucky. And yeah, let's take a look at touch heat map for Mo Salah. Very, very dangerous. A lot in the box here. That's exactly what you want to see. Very, very dangerous. And if we have a look at his XG shots, 0.27 was his biggest one where he dribbled around the keeper. Probably should have put that one in. A 0.16 shot, and a couple little other pop shots. So, look, Salah's data is still good. Like, he put up more XG than DIAZ in this game. Look, DIAZ is overperforming his stats. Salah looks like his form's dropped a tiny bit, but it's Mo Salah. And the thing is, if you look at, he put up, 14 points Ipswich, 17 points United, and at home he's been a little bit less explosive. Now, is that something to do with there's more space away from home rather than when teams come to Anfield, they make sure that, he doesn't get a lot of space because he is and has been their main threat. Perhaps that is the case, and he's got back-to-back away games against teams that their defenses haven't been particularly solid. So, and that would be Wolves away 6, Palace away 7. So Liverpool put up 2.03 open play XG, and they put up 0.03 from set plays. Bournemouth put up 0.71 XG open play and 0.38 set play. So Bournemouth putting up a little bit of XG from their set plays, which is nice. And let's move into the expected stats as always. Couple players I do want to touch on. Alexander-Arnold, 1 start, 2 returns, 1 clean sheet, and the assist, which was very nice from Trent. He was on fraud watch a little bit for me, but obviously after that game, I'm quite hesitant to sell him on wildcard. I think that at this price, getting a Trent at 7.1 is just absolutely insane. I think he offers a lot of value. If I can squeeze Trent, maybe some Arsenal defense in my wildcard, I think I'll do pretty well. Salah 0.78. So Salah actually had the most non-penalty expected goal involvements in this game. So people are thinking, should I sell Salah? Should I not? Maybe I would hesitate a little bit more than that because the numbers are still there with Mo, and DIAZ second with 0.68. Now, look, DIAZ is massively outperforming his numbers. Can he do this on a consistent basis is the question. And I know I did do a little bit of research on Slot. His left winger is always top of GA. In his teams, it's been like that in the past. I'm not sure if that's just a trend that's continuing, or if DIAZ, this is really his real big breakout season in terms of like taking him to the next level. I'm not sure, but it's looking like really good signs from DIAZ because DIAZ has put up 51, I think 51 points in the first 5 game weeks. That's more than Salah. It's the second most out of any player. Very impressive. Sinistero actually third for non-pen XGI, and then Semenyo tied third with 0.36. It'll be interesting to look at chances created. Trent with 2 and 1 big chance created for Trent. Obviously, he had the chance that he passed to DIAZ for the assist, which DIAZ did finish off eventually, which was nice. DIAZ with 1 as well, 1 chance created. Anything else of interest? Gakpo, who played 22 minutes, created 3 chances with 1 big chance created. To Crystal Palace, Manchester United, which finished 0-0. 1.01 XG for Palace, 1.7 for Manchester United, who definitely dominated the game in my opinion. A lot of chances for Bruno Fernandes, couple fell to De Ligt, who I'm sure will have very strong expected data. He did have 1 really big XG chance that I already saw. I think it was around 0.5, something like that. Where is Mr. De Ligt? 0.54 XGI and a 0.54 XG chance. So De Ligt is actually becoming our main target from set pieces now that Maguire's out of the team. At 4, how much is he? 5 million. So he's a little bit more expensive. At that price, I'd probably go for Diogo Dalot, who is actually in the top 5 players. He's actually the best defender for total BPS this season. He's racked up the most in the bonus point system. Not bonus points, bonus point system. He's racked up the most out of any defender. So Delot's looking pretty strong this season. But the problem with Delot as an option is that once we have a left back, and Malacia's back in training, I don't know when Shaw's back, but hopefully that's in a couple game weeks. Will he actually still be the starting right back, or will it be Mazraoui? Because Mazraoui hasn't come in to sit on the bench right now. He's playing a lot of minutes, but is that something that will continue? We don't know yet. We'll have to see. I wouldn't be recommending going for Dalot just yet, but put him in your watch list. That is for sure. Amad Diallo, 0.16 non-penalty expected goals. I was really hot on Amad Diallo a week ago. But the problem with Diallo is I still am afraid that Ten Hag will use Garnacho on the right wing and Rashford on the left wing. So there's a little bit too much risk. But later in the video, I will be showing you my secret and my favorite differential right now in the game. If you are some of my close friends, I was ranting on about that guy, and trust me, he is the real deal, and he's 4.5 million. So you'll have to see who that is very shortly. Eze. Now, if we take a look at the total non-pen expected goal involvements in this game, I wonder who's top, because I think it is Eze. He had that massive XG chance in the second half that he should have buried, and he missed it. Really disappointing, and I'm being ruthless this season. You missing that, you're obviously not in good form. You're gone. So he is gone, and he is top of XGI. Now, if we take a look at distribution, have a look at big chances created, that's always something that we need to look at every week. Now, Delo. Okay, interesting. So we know he's good from bonus. He's creating a lot of chances. He had that, I think the big one was when Garnacho did hit the post. I'm not too sure though. Ericsson obviously took a lot of set pieces, and Tyreek Mitchell. If you didn't watch my preview video, I recommended Mitchell 2 weeks ago, and I said he can get a clean sheet and an attacking return, and he's put up an assist and a clean sheet in the last two. So make sure you're watching all the Thinking Cap content, because we got a ton of value for you guys. Hoyland came on for 19 minutes, didn't particularly look amazing. Lacroix, I thought Lacroix was quite good. 4.5 million. Obviously, you'd ideally want to stretch to a Munoz or a Mitchell, because they do hold considerable attacking potential in them as a pick, so I think I would prefer going with them, but in a draft league, he's a good pick. Aston Villa, 3, Wolves 1. 1.73 XG for Aston Villa, 0.51 for Wolves. Goal from Matthias Cunha, very, very good finish off the post. Impossible for keeper to save at that position. And here we look at Duran's goal, the biggest XG chance in the match, 0.86, basically a tap in on the back post, passed by my boy Morgan Rogers, who I did recommend in my preview video as the best one game week punt last week. Definitely don't miss this week's one, because it's going to be good. I'm going to have a bunch of wildcard content on there. If we have a look at the XG open play, Villa created 0.52 from the set play XG, 1.21 from the open play. Wolves actually created more set play XG than they did open play, which is interesting. And does that potentially mean Villa have a weakness on the set pieces? I'm not sure, but I don't rate Diego Carlos, who did step in with Konsa playing right back in this game, who had a lot. I can already see 0.13 XG from Ait Nouri, who I think will be dropping soon enough in price. If you can pick him up for 4.3, that is an absolute bargain later down the line. Let's take a quick look at the non-pen. Duran top with 1.03 non-penalty expected goal involvements. Roger second in the game with 0.6, and obviously put up 2 returns. I'm assuming most of that is XA. Yeah, majority is it's all XA. There's no expected goals with Rogers as a pick. Now, look, he's playing 90 minutes for Villa. At some point, he's probably going to get a goal, but I'm not sure he's the most consistent asset. And I wouldn't, if you're looking at Rogers as a pick, you need to look at him as an 8th attacker, because going forward, I'm not sure he's consistent enough to deliver enough to beat a Semenyo or a Smith Rowe in that price. Because look at Smith Rowe. I think he's returned 3 in the last 4 or 3 in the last 5. And he's returned, 2 double digits or 1 double digit or close. I think he got a couple bonus points taken off at the end. We'll take a look at him later. But Strand Larson, who's an interesting pickup at 5.5 million. Not really much XGI for him, though. Interesting. Let's move into the distribution and see who's traded a lot of chances. Bellegarde with 2 chances created at 5 million. Dawson, 1 chance created. Matthias Cunha, 3 chances created, and I believe that's tied with Morgan Rogers and Yuri Tielemans, but Tielemans with 2 big chances created, Roger with 2 big chances created, so looks like those guys are the main creative threat for Villa in that game. Town, 2.49 XG for Southampton, 1.69 for Ipswich, and guys, my differential that I was talking about, my little secret, Dibbling, Tyler Dibbling, or Taylor Dibbling, one of the two. Dibbling is the name. Scored in the 5th minute. I kept an eye on this guy since preseason, guys. He returned 5 assists in 6 games in preseason. And the thing is, he's basically nailed himself down at 4.5 million in the midfield for Southampton. And he's on a couple set pieces too, guys, I think. And that's something we can check out here if he did take a couple set pieces in the game. But guys, I'm telling you, everything good for Southampton comes from this kid. He's only 18, came from the academy, really, really good player. And I just think Armstrong's not going to get in ahead of him. Armstrong's got a better chance of getting, and I've been keeping an eye on Southampton because I've been owning Adam Armstrong, and Dibling's the guy who's pushed him out of the team. And yes, Armstrong came on in the 81st minute for Tyler Dibling, but I think, guys, I think he really has a good shot for being nailed for Southampton. This is him, Tyler Dibling, number 3, second highest most attacking average position out of all of these Southampton players. And if we take a look quickly at his touch map, I'm sure it'll indicate really, really good signs. And I'm sure he'll be up there. Like, guys, this guy, very creative, and the way he took that touch for the goal, you just can tell that this guy's a baller. And yes, look, a little bit defensive, a couple things in the box, couple things. It's not amazing, but he's 4.5, guys, and he could be starting 70 minutes every game for Southampton in the league, which is really impressive. He had one big shot in the middle of the box. We have to look at the XG here. I wonder what the XG for that shot was because it was a really, really good finish. And guys, this is the guy I'm looking at. Like, if you go for a 3-4-3 structure and you get Dibbling in 4.5 million and work a rotation with one of your attackers for a couple games, it could be a really, really, really good strategy. And I'm looking at him a lot. I think he's a really great player. He is the sneaky differential that I'm looking at, 0.72 XG chance. And if we come to look at the expected stats here, 2.38 from open play, only a tiny bit from set plays, and Ipswich obviously had the big XG chance. They scored the goal late on from the set piece, but Southampton put up a lot of XG. Quite surprising. And the thing is, against United, they were in the game, and if they scored the pen, I think it would have been a very, very different scenario. And here we go. Archer, obviously, we looked at him earlier, missed the big chances, or been missing the big chances recently, and it's just kind of disappointing for him. And Dibling's second there for non-penalty expected goal involvements. We come over to the distribution. We look at the chances created. I'm sure Dibbling will be here somewhere, and he should be up there, I believe. One chance and one big chance created. Nobody created two big chances in the game, so he's tied first technically. Davis created 3 chances in the game, and he's a great pick at 4.5 million. And if you're on wildcard, I would really be considering him. The fixtures aren't bad. Ipswich did choke the game a little bit. I was expecting them to win quite comfortably just because Southampton been out of it, but that's the kind of game you never know what's going to happen. It was 6-pointer for the relegated boys playing each other. Hutchinson created a couple of chances, but nobody of note other than Mr. Tyler Dibbling. For me, I think he's a really, really, really sneaky option at 45 minutes. Have a look at him. Spurs versus Brentford now. 3 goals for Spurs, 1 for Brentford, 3.52 XG for Spurs, only 0.8 for Brentford. So Spurs actually put up a lot of XG in this game. They probably should have had 4 goals. If we come to Mr. Brian Mbumo, we can have a look at his touch map, see how he's been doing, because he is a very important player for us to monitor. I personally am looking at him on my Game Week 6 wildcard. So let's go to touch map and let's move to Mr. Brian Mbumo. So he did have a couple deep touches. Obviously, Spurs did dominate the game a little bit in the box, a little bit, couple wide touches, and obviously he's taking set pieces, which is really, really nice. If we look at Spurs' average position, Son and Madison were playing quite close together with Solanke. So obviously these 3 are interchanging a lot. And probably if you're looking later on the line, if Spurs do look good, probably looking at a combination of these 3 players because it looks likely that they will assist to each other. We also got Dejan Kulusevski, who's playing quite high up, and Brennan Johnson, and then Pedro Porro as well. So actually, Destiny Udogie was a little bit higher than him, but obviously, if we come to the expected stats, I wonder what Porro actually put up in this game because I didn't watch this game. I was watching the Liverpool game, and this is why we look at the stats, right? Because then we can really see who's putting up the expected, who's not, who's creating the chances. It's just really important to digest that information because it's just really, really, really helpful when you're looking at long-term picks, short-term picks, mid-term picks. I think it's a very good way of combining your own eye test with a data. And if we look at non-pen XGI, Madison had 2 expected goal involvements, and he did have 1, and he did have 1 fantasy assist as well. Solanke was second, 1.68 he put up in the game, 1 goal, 0.07 XA, 1.61 XG, really, really solid from Solanke. And Son, actually, Son with basically no XG in the game. Very surprising. A lot of XA, and he did return 2 assists from that clinch and bonus and hit 10 points. Really impressive from Son. He was the best premium captain this game week. And I think a lot of people were turned off of Spurs. Van de Berg had a bit of XA, actually, 0.21. At 4 million, I think he could be the best 4 million price defender. He'll probably be on a lot of wildcards. And even from the XA, for a 4 million asset, that's quite decent. I think they haven't bought him for him to be sitting on the bench. Lewis Potter, who a player I've always rated, kind of a little bit down there. Kulusevski putting up a little bit. But Mbumo, obviously top 3, 0.66. Took his chance really, really, really well. And yeah, I think it was a good game from Spurs. Brentford tried, but I do think Wisa will impact them a little bit. Oh, before we move on, what did Carvalho put up? So he was in the top 7 in this game, 0.34 expected goal involvement. And if we have a look at his average position, I wonder how high up he's actually been playing. Keane Lewis Potter's here. Damsgaard. Carvalho's very central. Very, very central at that price point. Interesting. Very interesting indeed. If we have a look at his touch map, how is he doing? Carvalho. Okay, so it's a little bit all over the place. He's kind of playing an 8/10, I suppose. A little bit more attacking though, and there's a decent amount in the box. Like he looks quite dangerous indeed, which is what you want to see. It's what you want to see from a 5 million asset. I mean, the problem is most people will just keep with Morgan Rogers, especially with his high ownership. Do you really want to go against him? Maybe, maybe not. But that's if you need a midfielder at that price point. We've also got here Pedro Parra. Let's have a look at his touch map. So we did have a lot of attacking potential, but with the Spurs fixtures, are you going to spend 5.5 million on him when Spurs are a really, really bad defense? I really highly doubt that. Leicester City 1, Everton 1. 1.1 XG for Everton, who were the away side, and 0.66 for Leicester City. Mavididi scored late on to equalize. Vardy came out with nothing. There's not too much to say about this game other than it was a little bit of a stalemate. You know, Dyche, Cooper, that's what you're going to get, really, from those two managers. If we have a look at the XG from open play, Leicester 0.28 and Everton 1.06. So Leicester did put up a solid amount of set play XG 0.38, and they are another team where if you're looking at a cheap defender, Fies could be a good option. I'm not sure if he rose tonight or not, but if he did, obviously maybe don't go there, but he does get a lot of the chances from set pieces at 4.1 million. He could be a good option. Taking a look at the non-pen XGI here, Calvert-Lewin with 0.7, which is okay for a tight game. Was he the most in the game? No. Lindstrom, actually, from Everton, 0.52 expected goal involvement, and Mavididi with 0.6. It looks like Mavididi has won his place back in the team. McNeil with 0.47 XG, really solid. Most of that was XA though. Ndidi with a tiny bit, and Ndia, interesting option at 5.4 million as a forward. He did score the goal for Everton from a... Let's have a look actually what the XG chance was on that one. Ndia goal 0.08, so it was a low XG chance, but so he did actually get some other chances in the game. And if we have a look at shot heat map for Mr. Jamie Vardy, he didn't get a shot in the game, guys. So I did go for him for a 1 week punt because I couldn't afford Calvert-Lewin, but Vardy does not. He's not getting, the problem with Vardy is he's not getting the level. He's not getting the level of output that you need for him to be a good FPL option, because look, he can have a good conversion rate. He can score the chances he gets, but if he's not getting a good level of chances, you know, strikers who don't get as many chances, slowly their output should drop. And the same with Jamie Vardy, especially 37 years old, and I'm not too sure I like him as a long-term option. Fulham, Newcastle United, 3-1 to Fulham. Great win for them. They really needed that, kind of push them into the top half of the table. 2.29 XG for Fulham, 1.54 for Newcastle United. Barnes scored 46th minute, and Raul Jimenez, who did replace Muniz. And Muniz did get an assist, actually. Interestingly, we can check the average positions out here, just so while I'm talking, you got something to look at. Nelson and Smith Rowe, two of the Arsenal boys on the score sheet, and Smith Rowe, he rose in price tonight. So he's looking like a good option, but at 5.8 million, maybe you just go with Antoine Semenyo if you're looking in that price point. Andres Pereira and Smith Rowe in that dual 8/10 role, and Adama Traore a little bit higher. Raul Jimenez up there too. Iwobi's been having a really, really good start to the season. I've really liked his positioning. Isak a little bit deeper than Anthony Gordon. We're going to move into the expected stats now. Filter for non-pen XGI. And have a look. Bonds with 0.57, really solid. Most of that was XG as well. So Barnes 6.5 million. He did rise again as well tonight, 6.6 now. Burn, he's getting mass sold, and I don't like the Newcastle defense at the moment. I think Burn in the center back has shown to just he's not working. I think they really miss Botman. Botman's not close back, so Haaland actually has them next game week. I wonder. Look, he's gonna be heavily captain. There's no question about it. Smith Rowe, 1 goal from 0.41 XG, and he's not even sitting at the top. Adama Traore is sitting at the top of non-penalty XGI from Fulham, and this is not the first week he's been doing it. This is like second week, so 0.73 non-expected goal involvement from Traore, who has also risen in price as well. As he's gotten 1 assist, 0.63 XA, so it mostly was XA, not a lot of XG. That's what you do see with Adama. He's not a very good finisher. We can take a look at the distribution and have a look. 2 chances created for Bonds, 1 for Anderson, who did get his first 90 minutes for Fulham. I think it was his first. 5 chances created for Iwobi, 2 big chances created for Iwobi as well. Anybody of note? 3 chances created, 1 big chance created from Adama, and Muniz with that assist when he came on. Pereira with a couple, but nothing big. So it's not amazing from Pereira. I mean, if you had him, I probably would be looking to ship him off, just because I think one of the other attackers will be on penalties now. They've just got a decent amount of attacking potential. I think even Smith Rowe, I wouldn't be surprised if he was on pens, or one of the strikers. Lewis Hall with a chance created in 45 minutes, but Kelly did not have a good game, I heard. So interesting. I think Barnes is the one I would be looking at from this game, but I wouldn't honestly be going to any Newcastle assets. I think later down the line, when the fixture schedule is congested, I mean it's getting congested now, but when it's taken its toll is when Newcastle not having Europe will show to be such a big benefit. I don't think it's going to be as soon, maybe past game week 10, game week 11, after the lost international break, and then that period up to Christmas. That is the period where I think Newcastle could gain. So put a couple of these guys in your bucket list. Barnes is in my bucket list. Isak later on, I'll go back to him, I'm sure. Lewis Hall as well, 4.4. And the thing is, if Botman keeps dropping, I think he's dropped to now 4.3. If he keeps dropping when he's back, he'll be a lock in most teams. If Newcastle defense are looking good, because Pope didn't have a good game, but obviously that's game-to-game basis, could change. But I think that's it, yeah. And that basically just wraps up my Game Week 5 recap guide. If you did find any of these insights helpful, don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps me out. I've got plenty of Wildcard 6 content coming your way this game week, so subscribe to the channel. Until next time, peace.